Hi, everybody, and welcome to Creativity Reframed. This is actually the last of the 2020 series of conversations with some brilliant people to talk about the role of creativity and problem solving through crisis. And what a year this has been. I can't believe that we're ending this year of such challenge and such turmoil. But of course, what we've been exploring through this series is, of course, the opportunity for problem solving and optimism and a bit of creativity to guide us through it. And actually, maybe even get some breakthroughs coming through the other side of this. So who better than to end this series with this year than somebody that I've got to know over the years. I've not seen her for a little while, but I actually thought, oh my God, Sharon Watson would be incredible to end my series of conversations with. So I'm delighted to have Sharon here with me today. Sharon is the Chief Executive and Principal of the Northern School of Contemporary Dance. So a really kind of different perspective that I'm sure Sharon is going to bring to proceedings today. So Sharon, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, pleasure.
What I always ask everyone, Sharon, is kind of how the hell have you found coping with this whole experience, both professionally and personally?
Well, I think like everyone, we have our up days, our down days, our days that we have no idea what's going on. But I think in terms of just being a human, it's just sometimes just saying, I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this today and be honest about it.
I've not heard that from anyone else thus far. I love that. No idea.
Yeah, there's a reality check in all of this because I think, whether I'm at work or whether it's a home situation, there are other people that are involved in this. And actually together, there's a conversation to be had always around what it is that you're dealing with at that current moment in time. I mean, I have 250 students that I look at through the windows and unable to communicate. I have no idea who they are, but I have to be there for them, for the staff as well. So it's, conversation is so vital. And we have this new method of Zooming, which everyone lives behind. But even behind the Zoom lens, we've got to understand how to be empathetic and sympathetic to situations. But also we have to remain with our feet firmly on the ground because, we are going through a challenging time. And I am very optimistic about the future. So we'll look at this and it'll be behind us soon, and we need to make sure that we're not on our knees at that point.
Absolutely. I guess kind of how have you been able to, we're talking about creativity, so in its broader sense, really, how have you been able to kind of use that through the work that you do? And it's really interesting for me because obviously you can talk to this both from an artistic and also from a business point of view. So I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on that.
It's a great time to throw yourself into the studio and make work, but of course that's not the reality of things right now. And thinking creatively, I guess in a way there is something around the conversations that I'm having about the future thinking and the future planning around creative ideas. They are taking on a different feel. They are taking on a very different narrative because we've been guided to talk about the local hyper situations that we're dealing with and who are the people that we're actually creatively going to work with to change a situation and to be able to kind of function in a way that actually enables you to have a future. And that's really quite a challenge. And with regards to business, you have to really think about how sustainable you're going to be in the next few years. And again, being the optimistic that I am, looking at where we are now doesn't mean to say that we can't actually really think and blue sky think around the future, which is really exciting because when I'm thinking about, extending the footprint of the school and putting on new courses and working with new artists and building new artists, people are just kind of looking at me as if I've just taken something a bit odd. But it is the way to consider how you actually rebuild back what it is that you have and how you have those communications around the business aspect. And it's not about the money. The monetary side of it will come into play. I mean, everyone's really kind of grappling with that right now. But if you really are thinking about creative, what do we look like in the next 3 to 5 years? That's where the creativity comes into it. And I love absolutely blue sky dreaming because I can try and make that a reality.
Absolutely. And I guess just, an obvious kind of topic, Sharon, is around kind of digital transformation in the context of dance. And I'm sure that you were on that transformation journey anyway, but I'm sure there's Zoom and all kinds of things, but has there been any other pieces that you guys have been doing that perhaps you might have done before?
What's really beautiful, we've had to invest in our digital technology to make sure that we are not just putting out what we think is acceptable, but actually to maintain quality and to keep people engaged, then we've had to really upgrade the equipment that we have. I'm here at the school at the moment, waiting for a show that's going to be broadcast tonight live from our students. And I think that's phenomenal. We haven't done that before, but our audiences are international, and we would not also have had such a broad audience had we had the door open and the ticket sales going on. It would be a very different audience that we'd be performing to. So I really think that there is something to be had and to be gained from that digital opportunity. Of course, we'd love to have the live audience, but there's no reason why we can't have both. And that's definitely demonstrated.
It's such a great point though, Sharon, isn't it? About that kind of international opportunity of post coming out the other side of this. I'm sure that there'll be things that you'll keep on doing to keep that international reach in terms of all the brilliant work that you guys are doing. So absolutely love that. I hadn't really thought about that in the context of the work that you're doing. So obviously you've been incredibly resilient. You were telling me earlier about the fact that the school hasn't closed through all of this. Been a lot of perseverance and endurance around how you've gone about doing that. How do you kind of feel that the dance sector overall has kind of channeled its creativity? Have you seen other things from other people that you've kind of gone, oh, that's really interesting?
Most certainly. It's quite surprising where you can deliver performances. Our parks become a very interesting space. Even the back of a lorry, I went to see a performance that was performed, Good Blood, which is an ex-student of ours, performed in the back of a lorry outside in a car park, which was absolutely fantastic. Table service in terms of the drinks and
Love that.
and a great performance, speakers and even the audience around that weren't in the space, were able to stand and watch. Just a very different environment and a creative way of knowing that actually performance can be delivered in a way that perhaps isn't just about traditional theatre. So yes, there are so many other ways in which that can happen. Drive-ins, which I think is also another area of opportunity. That's something really to be explored in terms of live performance. But we'll try anything right now.
I love the idea of a drive-in meeting a dance performance. Is that something that you're looking at, or?
It's a conversation that we've had. We would obviously, the space around our locality doesn't really facilitate that at the moment, and that would be a bigger conversation as to where that could take place. But even down to the I've got this idea, this concept of a Deliveroo dance, which allows our community to kind of dial an order from a menu of dance performance pieces that they can choose from and keep connected to the audience. So we are being very creative around the work that we do.
Yeah, so dance on demand. I absolutely love that. We were chatting earlier, weren't we, about the fact that you've obviously stepped into your role as the chief exec in May this year. So right into COVID, you started that role, which I can't even imagine how challenging, interesting. I can't even, think of how many adjectives to describe what that must have been like. I mean, I guess for you, what have you kind of learned about yourself through this whole experience and in the context of you in a big new job?
Yeah, there's a lot of expectation in terms of the role and obviously the success of the school. But I think the confidence to step back and to pace myself was one of the things that I'm reflecting on now, and how important it was to lead from a very different way of leading. It's not just always leading from the front. I really felt that I needed to stand side by side with my staff, my leadership team who had the intelligence, the students who wanted to be here, and the actual day-to-day functioning of an organization that refused to be shut down. I became one of the team absolutely on the ground, figuring out how we do this on a day-to-day basis. And I love that because it allowed those conversations that ordinarily would take months to have. Yeah. It was kind of, let's get them done. Let's talk about it now. And it has brought me some space, some thinking time, and time to get to know exactly what that energy and the values of our organization really hold. So that was wonderful. So in spite of COVID, I think it was a great way to start a new job. Like I say, with a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations.
I'm sure it's kind of like team building on steroids, isn't it? Really, it's so kind of intense and compacted, isn't it? What are your hopes going into 2021?
Wow, let's hope we all arrive in 2021 staying healthy, looking after our health, our mental health, our physical well-being. I think for me, there is a real hope that people will understand more the value of culture and in all its forms. And that if I can see a shift in where they respect what culture can do, how it can embed itself within someone's life, how it can be the life force, then I think we will have made some significant progress. We experienced COVID and the lockdown, and it was culture. Even if it's labeled something else, it was the kind of the real essence of culture and people connectivity that really kept us going. So I would hope that there's more value placed on that aspect of our lives, and we can do more with it.
Absolutely. I mean, such a kind of thought-provoking way of closing this whole kind of series this year, Sharon, around that pivotal role of culture. Because of course, I've been talking a lot about creativity, but they're almost two sides of the same coin, aren't they? Culture and creativity. So listen, thank you so much. I knew it was going to be a lovely opportunity to check back in with you, Sharon. So good luck with the performance tonight. Hopefully I might get to see you at some point next year. Who knows?
Who knows? That would be so
Take
lovely.
care.